Hello guys, and welcome to my new YouTube video for today. And I don't know why, but I've been doing double uploads because, sometimes I have saved videos and then like for a week, and then when I do my next YouTube video, I'm like, oh well, there's one left over. Let me just upload it with the new one. Anyway, as today's video is titled, and as you can see by the thumbnail, why Spider-Man 3, MCU Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man. Why Spider-Man 3 should be dark, and here's why. I added the here's why. It's just why Spider-Man 3 should be dark. I've seen a ton of people disliking Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And me personally, I love Tom Holland's Spider-Man, his representation of the webhead. And I've seen people saying, oh, MCU Spider-Man's too childish, or Iron Boy Jr. Well, if we can see from his supposedly character development, on Homecoming he was labeled as Iron Boy Jr. because I think just because Tony Stark made his Stark suit, and I think that's just the reason, or because in Homecoming and Civil War he saw Tony Stark fanboy, and trying to prove that he can be like a superhero. Because as we all know, he's been Spider-Man for 6 months prior to Civil War, and we know that he's been doing his spider hero stuff. So when he met Tony Stark, he's like, oh, like I wanna, see that Mr. Stark sees that I'm like, like an Avenger level superhero. So I'm gonna do all of this nice things so he can, recruit me as being as an Avenger, and he's going gaga over him. So I think that's the answer for the why people dislike Tom Holland for being Iron Boy Jr. Next, we all know, and we saw Far From Home, the level of the movie rose the stake for being Spider-Man. Okay, so in Homecoming we can have like an introduction to Spider-Man, and in Far From Home we see that it got a bit more dangerous being the superhero because he accidentally told about his friends to Quentin Beck, and like as a Disney movie, it's kind of dark to see certain lines from villains saying like, "Oh, you're gonna die," kind of like Quentin Beck with like, "Oh, thanks to you, now all your friends have to die." Like that's kind of dark, and I know a dark movie doesn't have to be like the DC films, and I'm not gonna trash anything, but you know how all the DC films have like a filter where it's like dark and stuff. If you think that's dark, it's not dark. Dark is when you can have a movie, a kid-friendly movie, and just make it dark. It doesn't have to have deaths or rainy or gothic or like dark mood. It just has to do with something being dangerous. And in Far From Home, we kind of got that taste of dark tone when Mysterio said like, "Oh, your friend's out to die," and like his friends were in danger. And now for Spider-Man 3, the stakes are gonna be higher since pretty much Mysterio revealed to the city that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So in Spider-Man 3, it needs to be way darker than Far From Home, because again, in Far From Home we got a taste of the dark tone, because we all know in this, Marvel Studios and Sony, if you're watching this video, you guys need to represent how scary and dangerous the life of Peter Parker slash Spider-Man is. Alright? We know the character, we know that Peter Parker is pretty much the only Marvel hero that can catch a break. And we need to see that on the big screen. We need to see that on the big screen, guys, alright? We need to see how dangerous the life of Peter Parker and Spider-Man is. Now that his identity got revealed, we can do that, alright? You guys can do that. Represent how dangerous the life of Peter Parker is, now that pretty sure that there's going to be criminals and supervillains trying to hunt for his head, and people trying to hurt his family, Aunt May, and his friends. So if you combined the dangers of Peter Parker, like his Aunt May and his friends, now that supervillains and criminals know his identity, you guys gotta stew that soup, stir it, and make Spider-Man 3 dark. Alright? We need the representation of what makes Spider-Man unique and relatable. He cannot catch a break. And when I was a kid, and many kids today, and many adults who were kids back then, were like, oh, we want to be Spider-Man, we want to be Spider-Man. Alright? But you, Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures, we all know that Spider-Man's life is dangerous. So you have to put that on the big screen. Make kids not want to be Spider-Man anymore. Because we all know that kids want to be superheroes because of their cool powers and their cool suits. But kids don't understand the reality of if superheroes were real. Like cities being on fire, superheroes being hunted by supervillains, as Spider-Man did with the comics, with the Sinister Six. And that Civil War comic, I think I have, like the One More Day comic where this person shoots out May, I think he gets all mad and stuff. See, that's dark. We must have the stakes raised for Peter Parker now that his identity got revealed. Alright? I don't know the plot about Spider-Man 3 yet. Nobody knows. But we all know that we need to have part of what makes Spider-Man great. And that's that he cannot catch a break. So Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures, if the movie turns out to be like, Peter Parker's being hunted by supervillains, or his family members, Aunt May and his friends are being targeted to catch Spider-Man, then congratulations, you made Spider-Man dark. Alright? No rain, no deaths, no like blood or anything because it's PG-13. But we need to raise the stakes for Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And that's the reason why we need a dark movie for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. We must raise the stakes. Alright? Now that his identity got revealed, again, supervillains and criminals are going to try to chase him for his head and hurt his family members. We need to know how the life of Spider-Man really is, and it's dangerous, alright? Spider-Man can never catch a break when it comes to saving his family and friends, and we need that on the big screen. Alright guys, thanks for watching my YouTube video for today, and until later guys, peace.